say. The seas of streaming and reviewing mods and video games. It says the land in 7 seasons, centuries have passed. Until the day a hero named Mariner claimed his task. Deep dark gaming, we love to play video games. We don't keep playing until the early morning. Deep dark gaming, we explain mods and games. Deep dark gaming, we sell my games and more. As Mariner set off on his quest to who he needed a crew, the navigator joined the ranks and so did Mr. Q. Sailing for adventure, stories and for treasure. We will help you through, so climb aboard and join the crew. Deep dark gaming, we love to play video games. We'll keep playing until the early morning. Deep dark gaming, we explain mods and games. Deep dark gaming, we sell the games and more.
Ahoy divers, and welcome back to Deep Dive Gaming. We are here with Hiro. That's your key,
Hello.
man. From logging out, we are going to talk about games or game genres that we hate. Ahoy YouTube, ahoy Twitch, ahoy Mojo, and ahoy Mariner Kitty.
Ahoy Mariner Kitty.
Yeah. So.
Singing the song of her people.
Yep. Every time I start in with that pirate voice, she's like, "Oh, good, time to talk." Meow, 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 meow. Oh, and Mojo, if you feel like it, you can join us in the VC. But yes, we are talking about
Spicy.
games to hate, or games we hate, or game genres that we hate.
Or in general, just hatred.
Or just general hatred, yeah. And as typical with our stream of consciousness, the conversation might end up going on many a tangent. Or,
Of course it will.
yeah, of course it will. Because we're both ADD like that. We see a topical
Absolutely.
squirrel and we follow it.
As long
So,
as it's not a literal squirrel.
yeah. Save that for the cats. So, anywho,
Absolutely.
who starts?
I don't care.
Okay, well, I was actually talking about this with a coworker this morning, trying to figure out what exactly games I could list off, because there are games, I don't have any specific games that I specifically hate. However, there are game genres that I hate, or game genres that I purposefully do not play anymore because they set me off so badly.
Well, I'll go ahead and take the bait this time, and we could just go back and forth for different games. I absolutely dislike that. I don't know if I'd say hate. The very first game that I could honestly say that I absolutely disliked was Minecraft. I presume that was Mojo.
Eh? Maybe. She's
It was.
there.
I
She
didn't
is.
turn off my Twitch so there's no echo.
Echo. Ahoy, Mojo.
Ahoy.
Welcome, Mojo. Welcome.
Hello,
I'm glad to
Hiro.
actually be talking to you again. I think I might have actually spoken to you verbally once ever.
I
Yeah,
think it
just
was.
once.
I think it was at the conception of our stream of consciousness show, even.
Yeah, that might have been.
Oh.
If I would have a game that I absolutely dislike, because I'm not fond of throwing out the word hate unless I actually mean it.
Yeah. Same.
In general, I will say games that don't provide purpose or goals, like they don't actually, you don't like it's just a game. Here you go, plop it down, go play.
So something
Um,
like PUBG, Battle Royales, they really don't have a purpose except to be the last one standing.
Absolutely. I can actually, that's actually one of the ones on my list that I was going to get around to eventually. Um, but games that I categorize under this was the original Minecraft. To this day, I can't stand Minecraft, mostly because that in general doesn't appeal to me. Now, games that probably were the foundation for things like Minecraft, say Sim City, Sim Earth, Sim Ant, all the variations of Sim, whatever back in the day,
The Sims.
I enjoyed. I enjoyed those. I never got into the Sims, that didn't appeal to me, but the variations of Sim City absolutely appealed to me. Uh, but I couldn't do Minecraft. That's I'll just throw that out there. Um, just didn't very much appreciate getting the foundation of like a house built or a shelter built and then having a random creeper appear out of no freaking where and blowing me to hell, as well as all of my work. Yeah, didn't much appreciate that. That was an immediate turn off. I was like, nope, I'm good with not doing that.
Yeah,
But
I had similar issues with Minecraft. I didn't see the point for the longest time. I was like, what? What do I do? I need goals. This game has no goals. I need goals.
And I
And
feel completely different
exactly.
about Minecraft. I loved Minecraft just for the challenge of having to survive the creepers and the zombies and everything else that's going to destroy my stuff. And yes, there was an end goal to get to the end.
there
Yeah,
was an
yeah.
Ender
That didn't
Dragon,
come
right?
in until
Yeah, with the end
yes.
dragon. But now there's even more
That
of a goal
was
past that now.
oh, there is a goal past that because that goal didn't the Ender Dragon didn't exist until well past the inception that I was playing it, and that didn't get added in until many
What was it?
patches later,
Almost
and
2000
I
before that was added in? Something like that?
passed that, I think, honestly.
Oh,
I
you're right.
mean, at the very least, I wasn't aware of it in 2012 or 13 when when I first played it.
Oh,
Nobody told me
wow.
about that, and there was people that were playing it religiously around me, but I did not know about that, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm good."
Hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't.
So,
I've found out after the fact that it would be like a good. It's a good thing to like build if you like building stuff, designing and building castles or things or things or
oh, and the fact that
um,
you can also make walking houses in there too. That's kind of fun.
yeah. I haven't seen a
that's
walking
awesome.
house yet, but I did see some people recreate like Star Trek ships on the server, and I went and explored those a little bit, and it was interesting. It was not to scale, but they tried, and it was pretty interesting. And then like some of the YouTube videos I've been saying lately have like um, these big elaborate dwarven caves, cave
Oh, yeah, the
cities or whatever.
whole new cave system. There are guardians down there. It's crazy.
Yeah. So
But there's
some
also dungeons and team matches that you can play too. It's actually a little bit different, a lot different than it used to be.
yeah.
Yeah, I can understand and appreciate that. I can tell you right now, like, I will be like, "All right, baby girl, go play a game or something." And what will she do? Her go-to is Minecraft, and I'll come in and check on her, and she's sitting there building a giant building shaped like the Unikitty or a
Yep.
base or a house, or she'll be building a cave system with many layers and bedrooms and hidden storage, and I'm just like, kid. I don't know how you get sucked into this, but I'm glad you got an outlet for your creativity because that is pretty impressive.
I've
Yeah.
made whole amusement parks and town squares and everything.
Like, I
So,
kid you not, Unikitty from the Lego movie.
I have seen weirder.
mhm.
Somebody made a working Gen 1 iPhone, I think, in Minecraft once.
Oh, people make songs in that game with the music boxes
Oh, cool.
or the music
Somehow
block.
not surprised.
I mean, there is like whole orchestras of songs going on out there with that with Minecraft.
Mario Paint did it first.
Yes, yes, they did. In fact, so somebody even made Howl's Moving Castle,
Okay,
recreated that in Minecraft,
that
and it
is
works.
impressive.
Yes,
Mm.
that you can watch on YouTube
Yeah.
somewhere. But it's amazing. It's pretty impressive what a lot of people can do in that game. But
Hmm.
it is
So
not
Mariner or
everybody.
Mojo, I'm interested to hear about what you would pick for a top dislike of video games.
Fortnite.
That's on my list.
I've
That's
never
on my
Anything
list.
Fortnite like.
I've never had the inclination nor the opportunity to play Fortnite. And I'm kind of glad I did or didn't have because that meant I couldn't get sucked into something that I would probably learn to hate. Because
That's fair.
I've
Fair.
never seen, I've probably since TikTok has been a thing, I've probably not seen more than 3 to 5 minutes of footage. And none of it's in a row. Like I've got 3 seconds here, 5 seconds here, 12 seconds over here. Each time I'm like, huh? Never mind. And then move on to what I want to do or want to look at, like Fallout.
There you go.
The game that I probably hate the most is, and I don't want to say hate. I don't want to hate on a game I've never actually played, but the concept of like, where did it go? Come back, name, come back. I lost it. Anyways, but the genre of game are the ones that are they build in jump scares. Like
No.
yeah, like
You're not into like horror games,
horror
things like
games,
that.
horror games, gory games. I would probably never actually play Five Nights at Freddy's, although I
I
do.
probably will never play it either.
Yeah, I've
Kind
seen
of
them.
fun, but it scares me too much. I can't get through it.
Yeah, I was fine with the movie because I was like learning what Five Nights at Freddy's was about. I'd seen some people play like a VR version of the game, and that was interesting.
Yep.
But seeing them react to the game, I'm like, oh, this is not going to be something that I want to ever play ever. But
I'll be honest. I will never play a FNAF game. I will never. I won't care to. It's just not my shtick. I'm not like. I do find the lore and the lore digging behind it to be very, very intriguing.
Oh yeah.
I'm a lore junkie. I mean, we've said it many times before. I've said it ad nauseum before. Lore is important, and just hearing the different lore behind it is amazing. Um, yeah, and I agree with you. I'm just not for the jump scares.
yeah, this was an early discovery of mine in my gaming career because I got, let's see, like I was around the time I was getting out of World of Warcraft. I got the orange box from Valve that had
Oh,
Team Fortress 2. I think it had the Half-Life 2, or like whatever that what weird one was, where it
Half-Life
was you got
Alyx.
2 chapters but never the third. Um, but it
But of
was,
course.
but yeah. So that's when I learned I did not want jump scares in games, because I would be going around these dark areas trying to find my way through, and I have a very vivid image in my brain of either an underground corridor or some sewer someplace where there's a little bit of water, and boom, the whatever the thing was with the head on it would jump out of the water
Oh,
and
the head
smack me.
crab.
Yeah, not just the head crab, but but the guys wearing the head crabs.
Yeah. The head crab victims.
Yeah, those
Oh
freaked
man.
me out.
Well, I will say I've come across, in fact, in my recent video game trysts, a couple of jump scares that they weren't the meaningless jump scare. Well, I don't want to say meaningless. They weren't the jump scares that you get from like Five Nights at Freddy's, where it jumps out of nowhere and you're dead. In the game Stellar Blade I'm playing, enemies have enough of an AI to hide behind corners, and I've been jump scared enough from them hiding behind corners that I already have a habit of, as I'm coming up around a corner, I'm immediately hitting the dodge roll button to get out of the way of what's inevitably coming after me.
That's hilarious.
And it just it's now been drilled into me with the number of times in this game that it's happened, and it got me a good enough number of times to where it took me until halfway through the game to actually be like, all right, I'm just dodging around this corner. Because my god, they are bad. And the cool thing is the dodge mechanic comes built in with a perfect dodge feature where it does slow time, and you get automatic retaliation attacks.
Real quick,
So
ahoy Ray,
I,
how are you doing? Haven't seen
what's
you in
up,
a few
Ray?
days. Are we doing well? I am doing well, at least. I think I don't want to speak for my colleagues here, but it sounds like Hiro is doing okay today.
Yep, doing same.
Yep, Hoy,
Yep,
hanging in
yep.
there. I was telling Hiro that I did not have a Monday sequel today, so that was a win.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
that is a win.
I've got this whole genre in my, or this whole thing in my brain of a 5-part five-part thriller series called Monday. First installation is Monday. Second installation, Monday Tuesday, and then Wednesday is the Revenge of Monday, or Thursday is the Return of Monday, and then Friday is Monday versus Friday.
So is that me that's suffering lag, or is that somebody else?
What are you hearing? Static or robotics or what's up?
You're sounding robotic to me.
It's
Yeah,
gotta
you're also
be
sounding robotic to me as well.
okay. Well, I'll leave and come back. See if that helps. Entertain the troops while I'm gone.
Dookie dookie. But no, speaking some stalls, no matter what game it is.
Is that better?
Much.
That's much
Okay.
better. Fallout 4 has gotten you jump scared for bathroom stalls?
Bathroom
Ooh.
stalls. Feral ghouls popping out of them. They're rigged to blow up.
Oh jeez.
Or they'll have ghouls hiding in them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and they just run out at you like at full speed. Just, yeah, it's scary. No.
How can you get that much momentum coming out of a stall?
Ask the feral ghoul as he's chewing off your face. I'm not gonna do it.
Especially when you're at
Yeah,
low
just-
health and
just
you
throw
think I
down-
should really heal, but give me just 1 second, and then smack, you're dead.
Right, exactly. Exactly. And it's not just a
Here,
regular
any-
feral ghoul, it's gotta be a glowing one too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And if you're anything like half the freaking, well, like one specific YouTuber that I know of, he is obsessed with investigating every bathroom stall in every game he plays. And he traditionally plays horror games. So imagine that.
Oh yes. Oh.
Actually, actually, his YouTube handle is CJU. So he usually does horror games, but he also does a variation of other games occasionally. And without fail, every game that I've seen him play that has a bathroom stall, he doesn't just inspect the stall, he also lifts up the toilet lid.
Oh no.
Wow, that's a little too
It's a
close
shtick.
to an
He
inspection.
makes comments about it every time. Every time,
God.
especially if he finds loot. He's like, "Look, see, this is why I check every one of them. Loot."
I feel that. I'm a loot goblin. So
Ray says, now I'm just picturing the poo demon from Dogma attacking his avatar.
You know what? That thought came to mind too.
that's a great image.
Back when he was a good director. Rest in peace. But yeah. Back before he became part of the machine. But that is, again, that's a different conversation. So Fortnite. Yes. So I absolutely have no love for Fortnite. I absolutely despise Battle Royale. I actually was very, very intrigued and interested in what the game of Fortnite was originally meant to be before they decided to scrap their campaign mode in favor of constant cameos
They had a campaign
to
mode.
such extremes. Originally, when Fortnite came out, the beta was just the Battle Royale, and that was not what it was meant to be. It actually was supposed to be a campaign that was, if I remember correctly, it was a survival mode similar to zombie survival or in that same genre of zombie survival. And the fog was a component of the story, and I don't really remember all the details because this was back in 2015, or yeah, I think it was 2015 or 2016 when it was when it originally came out and when they were working on the story, the campaign mode. Like I said, it was supposed to be a variation of zombie survival, and it actually, part of the campaign was figuring out what was going on in the world and why there was this fog and why it was so toxic and turning people into zombie-like creatures. I think it was supposed to have like elements of Left 4 Dead and elements of, well, Resident Evil and other zombie survival, probably similar to 7 Days to Die to a degree because they had that building mechanic in it. Yeah, this was back around Destiny 2, and I was, well, just finishing up the campaign of Destiny 2, which when I finished that, I lost interest and was about to move on. And all the people I was playing Destiny 2 with suddenly started talking about Fortnite. Yeah, you should try it out. It's pretty fun. Got 100 players, last man standing wins. And, well, another key personality trait of me, I'm not very fond of first person shooter multiplayer games.
Likewise.
I don't mind. I don't mind, and this is, little lore drop here. This is one of the things that I absolutely dislike is competitive multiplayer where it's a free for all, because in general, I just suck at first person shooters, and my competitive side doesn't let me enjoy them.
Same here.
uh,
I always have to get
and
gooder, and I don't have the time to get gooder because when I get gooder, the other guys are better even still than that. So I'm like, with the constant
yep.
it's a constant race to catch up, which I have no patience for.
Yep. Yeah. And that's very much a me thing. I discovered that I didn't like first person shooters in that competitive format when I very first started playing Halo with friends. It was fun when it was just a bunch of us messing around, but then when people got serious and they wanted to play ranked, that's when I started not having fun. And I was like, nah, you guys can have that shit. I'm gonna stick to my Zelda. So, yeah. Now, I like and enjoy first person RPGs. Like, I will play the hell out of Mass Effect in its various viewpoints. I will play the hell out of some Borderlands, games like that. Believe it or not, Far Cry was actually really fun, despite it being first person, but it also was a first person RPG. So I don't have problems with games like that.
I just discovered Far Cry like last year, started playing it. Oh my goodness. I started on Far Cry 3 and I'm just working my way through.
I think I picked up Far Cry 5 or 6 because it was on sale, and I went, this could be interesting. Maybe I'll play this with soda or something at some point. And then I've never actually installed it or started it up. So it's on my list of games to play with at some point.
I have it on, I don't remember which of the PlayStations. I have it on one of the PlayStations. I think I have it on, actually, I do have Far Cry 5 on the 4, and I have Far Cry 6 on the 5, I believe. And both 5 and 6 were actually pretty fun.
So when they come out with PS6, does that mean you're going to get Far Cry 7?
I have no idea.
Well, you said you had 5 on 4 and 6 on 5. So that means you have to have 7 on 6.
Yeah, why not? Oh my gosh. That's the dad joke for dad jokes right there. But yeah, anybody have anything else? I'm trying to drag it out. I'm really trying to drag it out.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that another genre that I have every intention of staying away from, and I had to make this decision about 10 or 15 years ago, was side scrollers. Because like when PlayStation first came out, I was freshly out of college. I got myself a PlayStation and I got Crash Bandicoot. And that was my first real experience with side scrollers, because I didn't have a Nintendo as a child. I had a Game Boy, but I didn't have any of the Mario games for Game Boy. So my first real experience with side scrollers was Crash Bandicoot. And I liked Crash Bandicoot. I liked playing Crash Bandicoot. What I didn't like was getting quote unquote cheated during a level, because I spend all the time working out the timing, and then I miss one thing and it dominoes into a whole bunch. And my claim had always been, I pushed the button, why didn't you jump? And it was not this calm, quiet tone that I've got now. I was angry about it, and I was shouting at the top of my lungs. I also lived at home at the time, and so my parents got over that, and my sister got over that very quickly. So they would be having a nice, calm afternoon or evening or morning or whatever, and then all of a sudden they hear me from the other room going, "Oh, come on!" and so they would come out. They would be like going, "Shut up!" And then so it got to the point where I couldn't play when anyone else was around. And then when I was living somewhere where I could do it, it was just making me so frustrated and so angry. And I finally had to be like, going, you know what? It's not worth it. So I had to swear off side scrollers because I knew how they made me feel and behave, and I was not interested in feeling or behaving that way anymore because over a video game. So
So when they
Ahoy,
re-released
Gazoo.
the Crash Bandicoot, hey Gazoo,
Hey, Gazoo.
when they re-released the Crash Bandicoot collection for the PS4,
I wanted
did
to
pick
get
it
it.
up.
I wanted to get it, but I knew myself, and I'm like, no, it's not worth the aggravation.
I did pick it up, and was it the 4 or the 5? Actually, I'm looking at it right now. Yep, it's the 4.
It was the 4. I picked it up too.
Yeah, I did pick it up, but I refused to open it.
Oh, I tried it. I hated it.
And my wife was like, I got this for you. Why didn't you open it up and play it? And I looked her dead in the eye and I said, have you seen all these people raging at Elden Ring? And she's like, yeah, why? Do you want that for me in an old school video game? He's like, what do you mean? I said, I've already seen the reviews. I've already seen the gameplay. It is just as cool and fun as I remember it. However, I also noticed key facts. They changed the timing. What do you mean? When you time the jumps, when you time all the actions and the activities and everything, they changed they changed from the way it was originally to an even more punishing timing. You have to be more on point than you used to have to be. She's like, no way, I don't believe you. Go ahead and play it if you want. She did exactly what I expected that I was going to do. He was getting,
Literal raging
she
at the
was getting
machine.
pissed. Yes. Raging at the game.
Raging at the
It
machine.
didn't take her long. It did not take her long to put it down.
I love that group, Rage Against the Machine. Anyway,
It's one of the reasons why I
love
don't
them
do.
both.
It's one of the reasons why I don't do racing games as often as I used to is because I would have the same. I'd have the same, especially whoever it was who decided to put traffic in racing games like Need for Speed
oh, that was a terrible idea.
They need to be slapped.
they need to be
Absolutely.
slapped hard. If I could invent a time machine, I would expressly use it for one reason, and that's to go back in time, find that person, slap them, and tell them no. The moment they conceive that idea, slap them hard, tell them no, come home.
Yep. I
And
would
watch
agree with
it.
that.
Every racing game.
I absolutely dislike racing games. In the vast majority, I'm not a racing game fan.
I've
There
loved
are
Need for
very
Speed
few
forever.
exceptions.
I've loved Need for Speed forever. But ever since like Underground 2 or Most Wanted or whichever game it was, that irritates me so hard. Especially when they
I don't remember
yeah.
Most Wanted having traffic.
and they always put it on the most difficult corners. The ones where you've got to time it right so you can drift around the corner, or you've got a set line that gets you around the corner most efficiently. That's where the car is 9 times out of 10, and it pisses me off.
And mind you, there are very select few racing games that I absolutely enjoyed. I will always have the nostalgia feels for the original Super Mario Kart. I'll always have the nostalgia feels for the original 3 or 4 Road Rash games from Sega Genesis.
Yes.
Oh, Mojo knows what I'm talking about because I remember one of our stream of
yes.
consciousness when I dropped that little Easter egg. Mariner is like, Road Rash. Not familiar with that one.
I'm not.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Both PC and
Motorcycle
Sega.
racing. Motorcycle racing.
It was great.
And,
Oh,
and it was back at the time where when you're motorcycle racing and nobody else in any of the motorcycle games thought of an idea. What if we give our motorcycle racers lead pipes,
with baseball
chains, and
bats.
baseball bats?
Let them beat on each other and say, pass by.
Mhm.
Yes. At one
And
point in time, I
that
think it was
was
in 3, they added kicking. I mean,
yeah, they've actually, if I remember correctly, the Sega games always had kicking.
yeah. But the PC version did not. It just had where you could just beat him on the head. Great.
Yep. Yep. And it was in 3 where they actually made the kicking animation very well done. And if you timed it perfectly, you'd be in first place and not even realize it, and you still hadn't stolen a single bat, chain, or pipe.
Hmm.
And I was the guy of my friends group that played that game that figured out that you could steal the enemy weapons.
Man, that was the greatest
And
discovery ever.
it was, and they did not like it. "Oh, you're cheating. Well, figure it out.
I still have
But
that problem. I have to keep myself contained with Monster Hunter World, like learning the pattern, and then anytime I get my timing wrong and it cascades into a stun lock, I get so frustrated. But I have understanding that it was me missing the timing and not necessarily the game cheating. I'll still moan and complain
oh
and call
man.
the monster a cheater, but I know intellectually it was me that messed up. But I need to vent the frustration at failing that particular fight.
Yeah, I am. But okay, I have a confession. I really enjoyed Elden Ring. I really did. But I am not a fan of Soulsborne games. I am absolutely not a fan of Soulsborne games. I know I have pretty good number of friends that are really into Souls type games, and a couple of them like asked me one time, "How do you feel about them?" And I straight up answered them, "Oh, I'm okay with not being a masochist." What? Sounds like you need to get good. And I then explained to them my experience with my very first Soulsborne game before I got Elden Ring. And it
Tell
goes a
the
little like
story,
this.
hero. Tell the story.
It goes a little like this. I got intrigued by the cover art of the Demon Souls Game of the Year edition back in 2011, I want to say. It had a PS3, and I brought it out. I put the game in and was actually playing. And a little something something. This is when my wife and I were dating, and I was playing my game console in her barracks room, sitting on her bed playing away. I played the first 10 minutes of the game, we'll say. La 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 la, walking down the path, fight a guy. Ooh, he took a lot of health and beat him, recovered my health. La 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 la, fought another guy. La 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 la, fight the third guy. Oh, that's a big guy. Oh, he must be a boss. Well, let's go and figure out his fighting pattern. La 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 la, poke, wish. Huh. Yeah, that was the first boss. So here I go, la 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 la, lying along, and I spend the next hour trying to come back to life or come back to where I was so that I could, I don't know, Had no idea what the premise was after that. I could not get back to where I was for the life of me. Could not get back to, I assume, my body. I assume it was a mechanic where you die and you need to go to reach a certain goal in order to come back to life. Had no idea what it was. With no guidance, no direction, no understanding, I spent the next 2 or 3 hours getting back to that point, or trying to, and failing miserably. I promptly said, "This fucking sucks." Oh, pardon me.
Cough.
Sorry. Cough, cough, cough. I promptly said, "This freaking sucks." Took the game out of the console, put it back in the case, went back to GameStop and traded it back in for the Legacy of Metatron, El Shaddai. And I spent the next about 12 hours and beat that game pretty soundly. I actually don't know how long it took me to beat that game. I played it pretty much in 1 or 2 sittings and beat it. So that is my experience with Soulsborne games, and how in general I do not like them. Now, mind you, I did really like Elden Ring. I think I got through about 2 or 3 main bosses and about 5 or so optional bosses. And it was absolutely brutal, absolutely grueling, absolutely taxing on my sanity. A lot of cursing, a lot of anger, a lot of gamer rage. And then I never went back to it after a certain point. It was exhausting just being that angry all the time that I was playing the game. I play the game to have fun, not to be punished. Holy shit.
Cough, cough. Ahem. Cough, cough.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bad habits, bad habits. But then after I put it down, my wife said, "Hey, can I try it?" And I stopped and I looked at her, my eyes as wide as sausage, and I said, "Are you crazy?" Like, I want to try it. Seeing all these people play it, it seems fun. It's not. I mean, yes, it's fun, but no. Yes, but no, honey, don't.
It's far too much work for the rewards you get or the feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah, there's not enough dopamine dings along the way to keep you going. No.
And she actually beat the first boss. It took her a lot of trying, a lot of effort before she finally did beat that boss, that first boss, and a lot of dying, a lot of cursing, a lot of rage. But she did finally beat it. And she also hasn't gone back to it since.
After she gets the first boss, she's like going, "I see what he means. Okay, moving on." That's hilarious. I have a gaming story. Once you're done.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this was
No,
me.
go ahead.
Picture a little mariner of about, I want to say 10 or 12. I'm not remembering exactly how old I was, but this will give you an idea of like how mature my maturity level at the time. I finally got.
Well, mind you, I don't know if I could really visualize you that young, sir.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but yes. So, anyways, I finally got myself a Nintendo Game Boy. I can't remember if it was a Christmas present, birthday present, if I like earned it through something or other, but I was so excited. My dad took me to the store. I picked out a Game Boy game. It was a Batman game. I don't remember the title of it, but it was a Batman for Game Boy.
I think I remember that game.
And I took it home. I plugged it into the Nintendo. I started playing it. About 5 minutes in, I'm like, I can't get off this floor. How do I get off this floor? I can't, because it was like a 2-level thing. I could jump, get to the second level, but there was nothing to tell me how to move from the floor I was on. There was no obvious doorway. I would go up to doorways and there would be no reaction. I would beat up the bad guys. They kept responding, and I'd be looking around and I'd be jumping and then get to the second level of that floor. I'm like, how do you do this? And I show it to my dad, and he watches me play for a little bit, points at things for me to try. Nothing. And so, and then he tried. I think he took the Game Boy for a few minutes and tried it and couldn't figure it out. But after 30 or 45 minutes, we climbed back in the car. He drove me back to the store, and we returned that game. It's the only game I've ever had where I could not get through the first level, and I still don't know what I was doing wrong or if the game was broken or what. But that was an early experience of mine with gaming that probably put me off gaming for a little while. I went back to Star Trek after that. I think Tetris was all I played.
You?
Yes, you guys
What
seen
about
gaming
you, my dear
early
friend
gaming
Mojo?
stories, Mojo?
Gosh, no. The only one I really have is my brother and I were really, really competitive about the first Super Mario Brothers on Nintendo.
Yeah.
Really super competitive. This is the only time I've ever been competitive about a video game. I finally make it all the way up to King Koopa. It's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I know that we have school the next morning, but both my brother and I are up playing this game, trying to be the first one to beat the thing, right? My dad comes in, sees us, gets mad, unplugs it just as I get to King Koopa, the last boss. I never picked that game up again.
Oh.
And it killed my competitive edge for video games too. I play video games just for the sheer fun, not for the competitiveness. I'm not here for it.
Yeah.
That was too traumatic. Thanks. Yeah, no, that was when Nintendo first came out, and that was my very first Nintendo game.
Yeah.
Now my brother continued on to the GameCube and whatnot. I went back to the Tandy, if
Tandy
anybody remembers
1000,
that.
yes, that was my first console too. I
Yep.
asked my parents
That was
for a
my very
Nintendo.
first.
Yeah, I asked my parents for a Nintendo for Christmas. What did I get? An Atari. But the
I got
Tandy
the
1000,
Atari
the Tandy
after the
1000 is
Tan-
actually the computer. I was
It was
forgetting
a
that
cassette
part.
drive that plugged
Yeah.
into your TV.
Yeah. Mine was an actual computer. It had a computer screen, keyboard built in, all that stuff. It was
Wow.
the desktop unit.
You had the deluxe.
Well,
No, we did have the
yeah.
keyboard and the cassette drive, but I actually learned how to make games on that system.
Oh, I would love
I
to see
actually
some of
sat
those
down
early
and
games
learned
you
how to write
designed.
those, how to write games. It was great.
That would have
Wow.
been awesome.
'Cause yeah, I was playing Radon Isram. That was one of my favorite flying, dropping bombs games. Definitely everything was side scroller, but I used to do make mazes. You could drive a little tank through the mazes.
Mm.
Ooh. That.
I think my first game on Tandy 1000 was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons or Reading Rabbit. Reader Rabbit, whatever it is. I was a young tyke in those days. In fact, I actually got a story about that. So, I'm playing I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm in and I'm talking to a shopkeep, trying to set up a trade or something. And I was talking my dad was watching me play. He was trying to give me guidance on how to deal with the merchants to negotiate a price down. Apparently, I carried the one and agreed to pay too much, and
Oh no.
my dad sees that and goes, "Well, that was stupid," and I'd never played the Dungeons and Dragons game with him around ever again. Because I don't even think I didn't realize didn't realize for a long time that that's what I had done either. Like I thought I had underbid the guy and successfully negotiated, but apparently I hit the the number one too many times and paid more than I should have.
Ah, how unfortunate.
Yeah, no, goodness, my dad's the one who introduced me to D&D in the world of fantasy, which was pretty awesome. So.
Mm. Yes, yes.
Yes. Both my parents were sci-fi nerds, so I grew up to be a sci-fi nerd. It wasn't until teenagerhood that I realized that there was things called high fantasy.
Yes. Absolutely
Honestly,
high fantasy. I've
I
always
was.
loved high fantasy.
It was last year that I actually learned that there was a differentiation between the different types of fantasies. I did not know that there was a classification like high fantasy. I always just called it fancy fantasy. So
I'll be honest, fantasy is fantasy to me.
right.
Whether it's high fantasy or any other fantasy,
Well, I'd
don't
love to
really
know
care
exactly
because
what the
I
difference is
love
because
it.
none of the names are pronounceable anyway,
Yeah.
be it highbrow or lowbrow, whatever the heck you want to call it. Especially when it comes down
Let
to
it be.
hell.
I'm reading I'm doing the Silmarillion in audiobook format right now, and I'm listening to him pronounce
Oh
all the
God.
names, and I'm like, yeah, I would not have caught that one.
Ever.
Yeah.
I don't. I love and respect Tolkien and his creation, but I cannot.
I've got the books, and I think I've read them all once, but it was a slog because every other page is a three-page description of the environment. I'm sorry, I need a
Yeah.
little story.
Yup. Yeah, I made it as far as Tom Bombadil, and maybe a little bit past that, and then I just gave the book back to my friend. I said, "Nope, can't do it."
I think I read them all once. I think
Really?
I don't think I got. I don't think I did.
Why?
I don't think I did the appendix for the Lord of the Rings or the Silmarillion, but I've gotten through them once, and it was
Honestly,
work.
I could not. Yeah, I could not. It just like when I gave it back to my friend, she was like, "Really? Why not?" I can't handle that much description. I'm sorry. I can't.
Especially when you don't know what the words mean.
Right? But no, I never even attempted to read them. My first introduction to Tolkien was actually the
Trilogy back in the early noughties.
the animated.
Oh, the animated. Oh, okay. I never saw
The
that.
animated.
I never
movies.
saw that
Yeah.
one. I was.
Oh no, I had the animated movies made.
I was a full-grown adult before people went, "Hey, are you gonna what? See, they're making Lord of the Rings into a film." I'm like, "The Lord of what? The Lord of the Rings." I'm like, "What's that?" They're like, "You've never heard of this? What about you've read The Hobbit, right? What's that?" And they were looking at me like they couldn't believe I was alive.
I would be looking at you cross-eyed too. I'm sorry, but I mean, every kid I grew up with, we all knew about Tolkien and the Hobbits by first grade.
Remember what I said earlier? I'm a child of sci-fi fans. The Lord of the Rings did not compute.
I also had Star Trek in my life at the same time.
I was all Star Trek all the time.
Mind you, I was raised around the sci-fi, Star Trek, stuff like that. But fantasy wasn't really a thing that I came into contact with in general until I really got into reading. And I was left to my own exploration when it came to reading. And I was reading sci-fi, I was reading fantasy. I didn't really come in, like, I'd heard of Lord of the Rings and Tolkien's products, but I never really looked too deeply into it until one of my friends found out that I was absolutely addicted to Robert Jordan's books and Terry Goodkind's books. And when they heard the kind of things I was reading, that's when she was like, "You should try reading Lord of the Rings." And that's about the same time that I heard that there were movies coming out. And I was like, sure, why not?
Now, I did read
It
The
took
Hobbit
me
before I
about a
went to go
month.
see. Yeah, I did end up reading The Hobbit
Mhm.
before I went to see the first Lord of the Rings film, and I'm glad I did because there was context that was needed.
Hmm.
Yes.
I will say that it took me a month to get to Tom Bombadil and past Tom Bombadil in those
Oof.
books. And mind you, that is like barely scratching the surface of that whole set of books. So I was like, yeah, I can't. I just can't.
So,
I need some actual story to go along with this description. This was almost abusive. And mind you, I was the type at the time. I can't do it anymore because of honestly, I have actual genuine ADHD. I struggle to sit down and read novels anymore. When I was younger and when I had that focus, I was able to sit down and read 800 to 1200 page novels in the space of about 3 days.
You have to have read Atlas Shrugged then, because that's about the length of that book.
What's that?
Atlas Shrugged?
The name sounds familiar, but I can't say that I know it.
I only know of the book, and I know that it's a very thick, with very tiny print novel that's about 1,000 pages long.
Well, in truth, most average novels are about 800 to 1,000. So it varies widely, but most of them are if you look at your standard, oh God, I hate using this as a comparison. If you look at the thick romance novels that you see on Walmart shelves, those will probably be around 700 pages if they're not shorter.
They should be a lot shorter. I don't think they're that thick. Like, for the size, like 200 to 300 pages at most. The longest books that I've ever read are like the 600, 700 books, or 500 or 600 page books that you get with
Mhm.
the Expanse series. Or if I mean, there's Lord of the Rings. If you count all of it together, it's probably
Oh,
mm,
that's a couple thousand.
yeah. But I think, like, in
That's a
a
couple
single
thousand, but that's also
yeah
three novels put
in
together.
in a single volume of a book, the most I've ever read was probably 700 or 800, and that was, I want to say, but I'm probably wrong, that was probably the last Harry Potter novel.
I don't think those were quite that long. I think we lost Mojo.
Mojo, are you muted? Or have you left the VC? Uh oh, she left the VC. Oh no, we
Yeah,
have
I
offended her.
think
Come back, Mojo.
we miss
Either
you.
either that or we were going robotic.
It could have been.
Let me text her.
There she is.
Okay, good. Did we go robotic on you, or did you have to restart or something?
Mhm.
no, actually, our internet here in the Pacific Northwest is not set up for heat waves like this.
Oh,
Oh,
So we have a
actually, kind
tendency
of a
to,
shame.
right? Well, we are a rather chilly locale most times. We don't usually get this much sun or heat in direct contact, though. It's usually filtered through a lot of clouds.
sun or heat, not both.
Right. But yeah, no, we've got both. And yeah, I have a feeling maybe something may have fried on a box. Who knows?
So where did we
Leave
lose
it
you?
to.
Not really sure, but I think last time I heard we were still talking about the Hobbit movies or books or
Oh
both.
wow. Okay.
I was referencing the kind of novels that I was reading. Like I was saying that I'd only gotten through the Tom Bombadil, and it took me a month to get that far. And mind you, I was somebody that could read 800 to 1,000 page novels in the span of 2 to 3 days,
Nice.
and that was average. And then I started trying to give him context for what an 800-page novel would look like. Um, but actually, come to think of it, my example was pretty poor. Those cheesy
Sorry,
romance
Gazoo.
novels that you see on the those cheesy romance novels you see on Walmart shelves probably aren't 800-page
The
novels.
Harlequins. Uh,
I have
God,
not.
those Harlequins are so horrible.
They're terrible. It's freaking OnlyFans for old women.
Oof, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I could never get that old to appreciate that type of novel. Thank you.
uh, well, and my context for what an old woman is now kind of probably skewed considering I'm almost 40 now.
You got nothing. You
Right.
got nothing.
No, no. I mean, I think right now Kazoo's like the oldest one out of this group that's here tonight. So
Yeah.
I'm like right on his tail. Right on his tail.
In all fairness, on the 4th of July, I did turn 39. So,
Man, I would love to see that number just one more time.
Yeah.
and you know what? You know what? I'm not
But
gonna
not
lord it
times
over
two.
anybody. I'm not gonna lord it over anybody, but I will say that until probably 2 months after I met you and your group, Mariner, that would be you, Mojo, Gazoo. Well, Gazoo made no secret of him trying to claim to be as old as Jesus or something like that. Or at
Yeah.
least he claimed it. I didn't believe it, but he claimed it. But
He was
honestly,
there when the lights got turned on. Yeah.
but in truth, I honestly thought that you, Mariner, were relatively close to my age. I actually thought I was older than you by a year or two.
Yeah, I get that a lot because of my youthful look and immature demeanor, but yeah, I've got some years on me.
Yeah, and then Mojo, I'm not even gonna pretend to even estimate what I thought your age was. Okay, maybe I would have put you at 40.
Yay. That makes me happy.
People hate it
Although
when
I
I
did
guess
have
their age
to.
accurately. I've done it more
Mm,
than once where I've gauged a person's age accurately. And most of the time that was with a woman I was interested in, so it didn't work out for me.
Well, I honestly I think part of the reason why I put you or estimated you at 40, Mojo, was the fact that you had said more than once you had little Mojo, which
oh, yeah.
That's actually
that
Mini Mojo
just
is actually the youngest one, so
yeah, like when you said mini Mojo and you were referencing a child, I honestly did not assume that you were, or that I didn't assume that you could have been any older than 40.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Almost 50 now. Thanks.
Oh wow.
she's
I'm
actually got a picture.
48 now.
Yeah, she's actually got a picture on my Discord somewhere, and she doesn't look. She looks really good for that age.
I don't look like I'm 48, but
Yeah.
then again, I usually just pop off with brown don't frown, so it's all good.
Well, in all fairness, and this is going to be a joke at my expense made by my wife. Um, one day I was just talking to her, and then out of nowhere, she cuts me off and looks me dead in the eye and says, "Hold on, how old are you again?" And I look at her. I'm like, "We've been together for more than 10 years. We've been together for 12 years, and we've been married for 10 of those years. I know, just humor me." Tell her my age. At the time, I think it was 38, 37. I can't remember which because we've been here for a few years now. And then she's like, "Wow, your white hasn't cracked yet." I'm just like, "What the fuck?" Language, sorry.
I love your wife. I say that
You know, you
all the
you know
time.
the you know the saying, like black don't crack, you know,
Yep,
and
that's
then
why I say brown don't frown. You know?
and I'm like, wow. I didn't know how to take it. I was just like, what the heck? And she just starts laughing at me because I was so speechless because I'm just like I don't know what to say. And then I
Oh, that's
just
great.
went to my old tried and true, you freaking goofball.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, now I've got like plenty of gray in my beard, but I'm telling you right now, if I shave it off, I'll cut my age in half, I swear.
Yep.
That's why I started keeping up with keeping shaved, is because I started seeing a couple of gray hairs.
Oh,
So I'm
I don't
like,
mind the gray,
so
unless
well, the
less
problem
concerned
is
about that.
is there's only like one spot where there's gray, and I can't grow the beard well enough to make it to hide it amongst the rest.
The
So like
I've got a
I
patchy.
can't have salt and pepper a salt and pepper beard, because it would be mainly salt, skin, pepper.
Okay, okay, fair enough. If you can't get it to grow consistently to your liking, stick to what you like.
Yeah.
Me, I've got the salt and pepper in spades, and it's if I got the lighting right, it's hard to tell whether it's just reflection or if it's legitimately gray.
Right, but you've got a proper dwarven beard. You've got something you can show off to people, and if you keep it maintained, you've got a good look. With me, it would
Yeah,
always be the consistently. I'm almost there.
Bradley beard.
Yeah,
the
patch
consistently
bald
I'm
patch here,
almost
bald
there.
patch there. Yeah, no, it doesn't work for me. So
Yeah.
I decided to keep it shaved. I used to sport a goatee, but once the gray
Mm.
appeared, I'm like, yep, I'm over it. Moving on. Shave, shave, shave.
I used to do just a goatee as well, but then when my wife said that I looked exactly like my dad, I was like, "Oh no, no, no,
Yeah,
no, no! I'm going full beard."
that's another. I'm over it moment. Moving on. Where's that razor?
I went full beard when she said that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the other thing. I would love to let my beard grow proper long and like hang down to my chest and stuff. But one, I don't have the patience for it, and two, when it gets to that weird in between phase, it starts doing weird, uncontrollable
I've seen early clips of
things.
your. I've seen earlier, like when when I joined up, the clip reel that Chieftain had on the front of the streams had some clips of you with the longer scraggly beard, and it was
That thing,
Have you considered
yeah,
beard
that thing
oil?
was. Yes, I've tried. The beard oil would not tame that, and so it just gets
Have you
once it
tried
gets to a
mustache
certain
wax?
point. I've tried beard wax, not necessarily mustache wax. Probably the exact same
have
thing
you tried a
anyways.
thick rubber band?
Just mustache wax, right? Braid stuff.
I've-
I don't know.
Ugh, rubber band, that's just painful thinking about.
Had little leather
But
strips in there, you know.
it just when it gets to a certain point, and I will notice it almost immediately. There's just a certain point where it's that halfway to where I want it to be in between, or well, honestly, when those earlier clips that you're referencing, that's when I was like, yeah, no, because my problem was is that was probably at the peak of pandemic, and everybody was locked down and we were always required to wear masks, and I would have to wear this dang mask all the time, and eventually my beard would start growing straight out under it, so it was like if you looked at me from the side, my beard would be curling under the mask and pointing forward in front of my face. And oh, get this. Somebody made the comparison to somebody wearing a bikini with an uncontrollable bush.
Oh.
And I
Oh.
immediately went home, pulled out the beard trimmer, put the number four blade on it, and just went.
Yeah. Dang. That's harsh.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was harsh.
Well, that individual's also the walking HR complaint of the office. Everybody's got one, it seems.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He was certainly the walking HR complaint of the office. He still is. And I'm of the opinion that if they got that they're afraid to get rid of him if they even wanted to, because
He'd be the
everybody
one,
likes
yeah.
him. But everybody likes him, and
Mhm.
he's also absolutely so valuable to a specific team that like he is the font of knowledge in his particular subject, and if they get rid of him, at least up until recently, we would be bummed. Absolutely hosed. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. But now he's got a team behind him that's also very, very good at what they do, and he's been training them. So
Uh-huh.
the thing is he's training them in preparation for taking another gig with our company, another contract within our company, and I think they don't want him to go right now.
No, don't leave
So
us.
he's just that much of an asset. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
Walking HR complaints, books, beard issues. Oh yeah, video game.
Yeah. I was wondering if we were going to be able to loop back to the idea of tonight's topic. It was
Well,
fine
before
if
my
we
internet decided to
Yeah. It was fine
go
if,
out, I was gonna like shift us back in that direction, but
Yeah. Well, it is called Stream of
Yeah, video
Consciousness, and
games.
I led with the disclaimer that we will be following the stream of consciousness wherever it goes, and well, we found out where it went, didn't we? We got a little bit of gaming talk in there at the beginning, but that's okay. But yeah,
the
if we
stream
can,
kind of
be
like
honest.
notates, some kind of boundaries. We're more like the wind.
Well, in truth, I'll just be honest. If we continued going down that path, that subject, I'm pretty sure it would have gotten into some more lesser kid-friendly topics.
yes. So we should
Right.
loop back.
So
We've
let's
got
not follow that.
we've got about 15 minutes before I have to end the stream. So, what do we want? Does anybody have any other games or game genres that they don't enjoy that maybe they used to, or games that they don't like the fact that they hate to love? That was the expression. Any games that anyone hates to love?
You hate to love it. No, most games that I love, I absolutely genuinely do love. It's hilarious though when I mention new games coming out and they're not really meant for adults. They're meant for kids. And the joke is, oh, Hero's totally gonna go and play that. He's gonna love that. Like I bring up an absolute example of Peach's Showtime, which is it's Princess Peach, and her entire theme is a stage in a theater. And I was like, oh, I'm absolutely getting this game. And they're like, oh, of course he's getting it. It's Mario. Heroes played that game. Yeah, totally. And I just say, nah, I got this easy cop out. I've got an 8-year-old daughter. And apparently it's really entertaining. She really loved it for the 20 minutes that she played it because she's so obsessed with Minecraft she can't put it down.
Sounds like an issue Mini Mojo has in common.
But I don't
Yeah.
know what to do about that. Anyways,
Mini
but
Mojo with her Minecraft is literally just to hear the horses scream
oh
as she sets them on
boy.
fire. She's okay.
So
That is her
she's a
only goal in
mini.
life. She's a mini Oni,
So she is
actually.
a. I was gonna say I was gonna say a mini psychopath, but I guess that works. I'm only kidding. If Oni watches this, I'm only kidding.
Oni hasn't watched any of my
Might
streams in a
actually.
while. At least not that she's admitted to. She hasn't come said hey in the chat in a while either. So, Oni, if you're there, say hello. Anyways, Mojo, do you got any games you love to hate or that you would hate to admit to playing to? Not that you would admit to playing to on my stream, but
I mean, the only genre that I hate to love is the horror genre. I love horror. I love watching horror. I love reading horror. I will even dip my toes into the video games. I cannot get past like the first 10 minutes though.
oh,
I cannot do the Slender games, but I would love to. But yeah, that's me.
yeah,
Yeah.
Kind of like me, cause like I I despise horror movies. I despise, well, not necessarily horror movies. I hate fear
yeah.
in that. Like my wife had to drag me to watch. I think it was The Conjuring 2, and I didn't mind it so much, but I hate the horror genre. I don't like that concept of getting scared or something jumping out of somewhere. Like I never liked Chucky. I never liked all these other things. But I'm weird. I will sit down and I will watch somebody play a horror game. I
Well, it's
will
fun to watch
watch.
them jump and scream and all that. It's just not fun to experience it for yourself.
And you know what's weird is there's like this pseudo horror genre out there that I actually enjoyed. Like the there was this game that I watched a guy do a like really long expose video on called Faith. And like it was the lore that dragged me into it. And it was absolutely meant to be an 8-bit horror game.
Mm.
And it was really intriguing. And I watched his name is Wendigoon. I watched him play it and talk about it. Like he did a full on lore dump with gameplay and everything. And I was like, wow. But what about you, Werner?
So I've been trying to think of think of a genre I love to hate and or hate to love. The only thing that I can come up with is I hate to love Kerbal Space Program because I do enjoy trying to work out how to put the pieces together to make a rocket that can get to a destination and accomplish a mission. But I don't know what it is about this game that makes it so complex that I'm afraid to pick it up because it could mean that 3 hours later or 3 hours have gone by and I've barely made it to the moon or to the Minmus or to the planet I'm trying to fly to because the half of the time is building the spacecraft. A third, half of the remaining time is getting it to actually get off the launch pad and into space, preserving as much fuel as possible, and then the remaining 15 minutes getting to the destination, and then realizing I forgot something and having to start the whole 3 hour process over again. So, so I hate to love that game. I do enjoy it. I watch other people do Kerbal Space Program videos on YouTube, but I can't seem to sit down and play it, or allow myself to sit down and play it for an extended period of time, because I will just watch that time disappear, and I will feel at the end of that time I will feel like I accomplished nothing.
Oh yeah.
So
I guess I can appreciate that, where I don't appreciate the concept of games that they'll give you a set goal, but failure to meet your goal will mean a lot of wasted time or a restart in what you're doing. Like in that situation that you're describing, you get to a certain point and your ship blows up mid-flight, and all that time getting to that point wasted, gone. I would I would hate that. Like another great example would be Elden Ring.
good
If you don't if you don't
callback.
go and save, if you don't save before you walk into that boss room and you fail that attempt on your boss at your boss fight, guess what? You're restarting from your previous save point, and that could have been an
Mm.
hour and a half of travel ago.
Sounds like Fallout.
Yeah.
So,
And traveling in that game is very punishing, because you will randomly come across riders that completely outclass you. You will come randomly across a wolf pack that'll jump over a hilltop and attack you out of nowhere. You will come across all kinds of different obstacles, and don't be in the Scarlet Rot area, or is it Scarlet Rot or Crimson Rot? I can't remember. It's basically a poisonous swampland, because if you're traveling around, you're going to come across a giant centipede monster that will snap your head off real easily if you're not careful.
yeah, you want to be careful with Fallout if you're building a settlement up. You want to make sure to save often, because if you start your build and you get almost done and then the game crashes without you saving. Oh.
But see, the difference between Fallout and Elden Ring is Elden Ring does not have an autosave feature.
That's true.
Nope. You
But I've proven
you
that it
have to
is
go.
possible to forget to say to not allow an autosave to happen in Fallout during
True, but in
building.
that case, it would be completely your bad on that part. In Elden
True.
Ring's case, you just have to be freaking tactical about your saving.
Yeah.
The problem
Huge difference.
Yeah.
with the problem with Elden Ring is the save feature is tied to campfires. You have to go to a campfire and save. And
Mhm.
here's the other flip side is you have to weigh your risk and reward with saving, because to save at a campfire is to trigger the respawn of the overworld.
Ew,
No.
that sucks.
I don't know what that is.
So
Quick explanation. We've only got 5 minutes
okay,
left.
easy, quick explanation. You go through and you're right next to a town full of enemies, and you go through and you wipe the entire town free of enemies. And it was a challenge and an actual hour endeavor. And then you go to the campfire to save, and everybody in town respawns.
Yeah.
All of the enemies in the overworld respawn, except for bosses. That's key.
Hmm.
Except for boss monsters. Boss monsters will not respawn. It's probably the only
That's
the
like
only
that's the only
saving
saving grace, right?
but it's and trust me in that I experienced that in starting Elden Ring, because I went through the prologue, and came out of the cave, the cave of origins, or whatever they want to call it these days. And the very first encounter that I see is the Oak Warden, which is probably the most common boss that everybody in Elden Ring has shown off, because that was part of the demo. Was the very first starting area. You come out and you walk out, and there's this giant effort on this giant horse, and he's got a big freaking spear, I think it was, and a shield. And oh my gosh, I actually thought you were supposed to fight that until it trounced me about 5 times. And I was like, all right, let's try something else because I'm not making any progress. So I snuck past him, got up to the hilltop. There's a couple of mandatory encounters there, and started roaming around, collecting up experience and fighting different little beasties in the area. Made my way through the woods slowly because there was a bunch of enemies in the woods and let me tell you, every fight in this game is almost like a boss encounter. It is as punishing as a boss encounter because everything hits hard.
Nice. Well, on that note, we have to end. So, thank you all for coming and watching and hanging out with us in the chat. Thank you, Hiro, once again for an awesome conversation. Thank you, Mojo, for joining us.
Definitely.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, we'll do this again next week, hopefully, if Hero's available. And then tomorrow night, Mojo and I are going to be playing Baldur's Gate 3, trying to take out the Ryan and his cohorts with very squishy PC characters. So it's going to be interesting. We did not get a chance to practice over the weekend, so this is going to be probably a repeat of our goblin fight from a couple of months ago.
Only because I said not to practice, we to suck it up.
But anyways, yes, thank you for hanging out. Thank y'all for coming, and
Absolutely.
until next time.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we totally enjoy having you. It's awesome.
Yeah. So until next time, enjoy whatever game you happen to be playing. Fair winds and fun gaming, y'all. Psyching out, people.
Bye-bye.
Hi, people.
Bye-bye. Okay,